Now, in your one of your comics, the one about the tonsils, actually ended up being on this comic wall that they have in Melbourne on the Corner Hotel. Have you actually received a lot of positive feedback from that?
Yes, I have. That was called the Strip Billboard Project. It's still going. Through the Australian Cartoonists Association, a group of people who are interested in doing some public art funded by the local council approached the ACA and said, if any of you would like to be involved in this, give us a comic strip and we will put it up on a billboard. Basically, a size of a commercial billboard on the side of a hotel, the Corner Hotel in Richmond, Swan Street. And yes, they had a roster of them. I did mine. I got that strip with Jared and the tonsils, and I digitally coloured it so it would look beautiful, and cleaned it up so it would stand the enlargement, and gave them the disc, and then they did the rest. And for a 3-week period, this, to my pride and joy, how can you explain the feeling of going by and seeing your own comic strip up, blown to the size of two or three large doors worth, standing up there in full colour, people driving past and almost having accidents and of two types. And it was wonderful. That was the Strip Billboard Project, and you can still find out how that's going on stripbillboard.com. And have a look. It was a wonderful experience. What feedback? Well, I track my my statistics on the web, and the day that went up, the visits in Melbourne went from about 20 to 60. Yeah, boing. So obviously someone saw it and told a friend, and that was really good. It was featured in the newspaper. I've had a lot of people giving feedback on it, and it was great. It rocked. It rocked your soul. Yes.
So do you actually have any advice for sort of getting your own works out there? I mean, you obviously actually took the initiative and gave them some of your works. Do you find that actually being proactive in the way that you deliver your works has helped you become more popular or active in and out of the fandom?
Yeah, you have to work out what you want to do. If you want to make a living from it, you've got to really give it your heart and soul and plug it. If you want to do something for fun, you do it for fun, and if you don't plug it and you just show it to your friends, you're still the winner because you've had a good time. But if you want it to get out there, you've got to stay at it. You've got to work and get connections. You send it to newspapers, you send it to journals. I sent out promo copies to all sorts of people, and as a result of which Sean McAuliffe has put a quote on the back cover of Volume 4, and that was from years of buttering him up with sending him caricatures and other books and saying, I think you're really nice, Mr. McAuliffe, and giving. Connections, get yourself out there. I've got a table here at Midfur. I've been sitting there most of the time when I'm not at the panels, selling books, selling commissions, and you get out there, you keep plugging, and you keep no, you don't keep exposing yourself. You keep plugging and giving yourself exposure. You can see it. I have a brain that keeps on filtering out random words and making puns out of them, and I have to stop myself.
Do you find you actually, being a comic artist and having to make, the funnies all the time, do you actually find that because of that you are constantly being comedic about your life? Or you find you're a little more serious and it just sort of comes out in the comic?
I'm a very serious person. I say, saying again with a straight face, I'm a very serious person. I look serious on the outside. There's a lot going on inside. There's a big fantasy world going on inside. There are passions. There is love. There is hate. There is drama. There's loss. There's healing. There's hurt. It's all going on inside there. I have a very serious exterior. And in my job as a doctor too, I must know when to be serious. I must know when to lighten up. But most of the time, my basic default setting is serious. But inside my brain, it's connecting words together all the time. It's very difficult doing consultation because I keep saying, no, don't say that. No, God, don't say that. I said, well, you got a nasty spot on your back. You better keep an eye on it. No, you don't keep an eye on it. No, keep your ear. No, keep your. Well, what about my hemorrhoids? I just suggest you sit on them for a while. No, don't do that. Don't sit on that. No, do sit on the hemorrhoids. And so forth. I'm constantly saying, no, don't do that. That would be a bad pun. And I think that's a particular part of my brain which is particularly attuned to languages, which means I use long sentences and I speak very slowly.
One of the other questions we were wondering is, do you see much of yourself in the character Ben from Doc Rat?
I ought to say no, but the answer is yes. He is very much like, he is me 10 years ago. He's in the medical practice I practiced in 10 years ago. Literally, the outside shots and the interior layout is my practice that I was in 10 years ago. In fact, the doctor I bought the practice from is one of my biggest Doc Rat fans. He works in Perth now, but he keeps sending into the caption competition all the time. Am I Ben? He thinks like I do. He makes jokes like I do. He only has one thing that's different. He can sometimes be unreasonable. Yeah.
So only the Danielle character, is it Danielle or Daniela? Daniela.
Daniela, the name taken from the John Butler Trio song. I was looking for I had a character, I needed a name. I went through with CDs I used to listen to, and I thought, this has to be her. This is her, Daniela. If you haven't heard it, look it out in the shops, Google it or whatever, but the song is her.
I'll have to have a proper listen to it. I wasn't actually there for all of your singing yesterday, but we did hear your Ben song, which is very cool. So, what is your actual training as an artist and your background in that sense?
I've always been interested in drawing, partly because I've always seen animals inside my head and I want to get them down on paper, and I saw nothing wrong with that. In primary school, being a completist, I found these how to draw books in the school library and went through page after page after page and followed each and every lesson. Then I went back and got the next book and then got the next book. That set me up with a bit of a grounding. In high school, they had extracurricular art. They're called special art. Every Tuesday afternoon after school, every Thursday afternoon after school. So I suppose that's the only formal training in that sense that I've had, where I was doing extra art lessons at high school. But when I went to university, I could either do art or I could study medicine, and so I had no more formal art training, but I have practiced, and I've practiced, and I've practiced. I've cross-pollinated by international fandom, especially furry fandom, some of the appers, Rabrazzle and Huzzah, to mention two big ones of them, and that kept me in touch with other people in the United States who were doing furry art in the same way. We trade, we exchange tips. Now currently I'm using new media still. In fact, I'm using a Wacom tablet now, Corel Painter X, reproducing any media. I'm ink, pencil, watercolor, gouache, brush and ink, charcoal, pastels, you name it, and it's like owning an art shop on my desk. So up until number 500 strip, they're all done on paper, A4 paper, each strip drawn to 24 by 7 centimeters. Now, since number 501 onwards till number 900 plus, they're all done in a way that is indistinguishable from what I was doing before, but they are actually all completely virtual. It's great fun doing this. I type in my lettering, which is my actually real lettering, which I converted by the means of a program called Font Creator. Type that in, and then draw in digital pencil, and then ink with digital ink, and come up with something which I would dare you to try and distinguish between that and something that was drawn by hand on paper.
So do you think we'll see you again for next year's Midfur?
Oh, tell you what, Midfur last year, number 10, Midfur this year, number 11, are some of the best conventions I've been to. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
I just want to say thank you very, very much for having an interview with us. This has been Jenna, author of Doc Rat, and Creighton for ACTfur On-Air.
denied.